G'day Year 7, it's Mr. Halstead. In this video, what we're going to be doing is looking at some of the things that you might need to consider when following the method to complete the Big Bounce Practical. Now, I did a little bit of recording to show what that practical might look like, how to follow the steps, all that sort of stuff, and hopefully this will give you an idea of what to do when you are trying to complete this activity from home. Now let's get into it. So for this experiment, I set up against a brick wall. I thought that was probably the easiest way to do it. I've got a couple of pieces of blue tack, a tape measure, and a ball. The first thing that I'm going to be doing is getting my tape measure to measure out 1 meter. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. Just setting my tape measure to 1 meter, putting it up against the wall, and I'm going to mark that height with some blue tack. And I'm going to be able to use that marker in a minute to be able to drop my ball from the right spot. So that marker represents our meter from the ground. And at this point, I'm just making sure that my ball is lined up with that meter mark. It takes me a minute just to sort of figure out how to drop the ball while still being able to see where it bounces up. So I'm just trying to sort of angle my body around and get to the right spot. I do recommend that you do this with somebody else. It will make it a little bit easier for you to be able to do the second part of this experiment, which I'll show you in a moment. So at this point, I dropped my ball. I noticed as well, I wasn't really paying attention to where the ball was going. I was just making sure it sort of worked from that angle. I tried again. This time the ball actually hit the brick wall on its way down, so that wasn't really a fair test. So I went again, dropped it, and really kept my eye out to see where the maximum height of the ball was. And so I tried to put my blue tack roughly where the bottom of the ball reached its maximum height. I'm then going to measure the height that I've marked. And as I'm doing that, I have found that it is 72 centimeters. So I can put that into my table if I was recording my results. But yeah, there you have it. They're sort of the steps that you can follow to be able to measure out the heights of all of your balls bouncing. So I actually went back when I was recording this and compared where I put my blue tack and where the maximum height of the ball actually was. If you do want to film and try and figure out where your maximum height is, that's completely fine. You will need to make sure that your phone stays still. But when I compare where I put my blue tack to the next frame now, where that maximum height is, what we should be able to see is that I did get pretty close. Ideally, I would have put my blue tack where the red dot is, right underneath where the bottom of the ball is. That would be the best spot to do it. But anyway, still pretty close. The next thing that I want to show you is a little bit of a close-up and a slow-mo shot of the ball actually bouncing. Hopefully this will help you draw some of your force diagrams, as it might give you a little bit of a closer view of what's actually happening to the ball as it hits the ground and begins to bounce up again. So as the ball comes down, we can see that it hits the ground and immediately starts to move back up. I'll show you a couple of shots sort of before, during, and after the bounce. There's 3 frames. So the first one here shows the ball about to come in, and the second one shows that the ball is sort of flat on the ground, and the third one shows the ball then bouncing back up again. Also included, there's just a second drop that I did. So because I can't take super fancy footage with a high-end slow-mo camera, my phone camera only films at 1/8 of the speed. That's the best slow-mo that it can do. I've also got a clip from Science Luxembourg. That's a channel on YouTube, and they've taken a recording of bouncing a tennis ball. So when you look at the footage here, what you can see is that when the ball hits the ground is actually pushing and squishing the ball. And the reason that it bounces back up is because the material in the ball springs back out and pushes it back upwards. Thank you very much, Year 7. Hopefully this video gave you a little bit more of an idea how to actually prepare and plan and conduct your experiment, as well as give you a little bit of insight into what might need to be done to draw some of your force diagrams. So yeah, enjoy the practical that you've got for the week. If you need any extra help, by all means, make sure that you're messaging your teacher and they will be able to help you further.